We'd know him anywhere, even when we can't quite make out the face. Our symbol of righteous wrath, devastatingly delivered. His deadliest weapons have always been irony, silence, and surpassing cool. Yet he always loves to subvert that image.
Bang! That's right.
As both actor and director, he's always been determined to test himself and to expand his audience's expectations. It's the open secret of his stardom's long life. He is, of course, Clint Eastwood, and this is the story of the man who creates images of himself in the world as he sees it, and lives, both restless and content, behind those images. He's been directing for over a quarter of a century, creating a body of work few people who devote themselves solely to this craft can match.
Okay, just pull right in, a little more. Come here, Thunder. Whoops. Ooh.
Boom. Make it higher.
His work on Unforgiven won him Oscars for Best Direction and Best Picture. In spring 1997, he was on location in Savannah, Georgia, directing his 20th film. His way of working, low-keyed, confident, good-humored, is a measure of the man and what he has learned in life. He was born in San Francisco, May 31st, 1930. The first child of the former Ruth Runner and Clinton Eastwood Sr. Struggling with Depression-era hardship, his dad would teach Clint the value of hard work and discipline. Still, Clint and his sister Jean grew up in a warm, emotionally secure atmosphere. The Eastwoods all love the outdoors, and Clint was introduced early to some of the tools of his eventual trade. He could strike a bold pose, but he was a shy and often solitary kid. When Clint was a teenager, the Eastwoods settled near Oakland, where Clint went to high school. He did not love it. What he did love was jazz, hearing it and playing it.
I always admired musicians because they could channel their emotions into the instrument they were playing, whether it was the piano or a horn. I remember being very impressed by Charlie Parker and Lester Young and those guys when I was a kid because they always seemed to be emotionless on stage until they started playing, and then a lot of things really happened. Acting, on the other hand, I just assumed that you had to be some sort of a clown or an extrovert to be able to do that. So I never thought about pursuing a profession like that. In fact, after high school, I think I was kind of adrift. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Well, I knew what I didn't want to do.
That was going to the Army, where he spent 2 years as a swimming instructor at Fort Ord on the Monterey Peninsula. His abiding love for the area, where he's lived most of his adult life, dates from these days. While he was in the service, he met Maggie Johnson. They would soon marry. And he would find an interesting new job in the talent program at Universal Studios. At first, he says, he had no burning ambition to act, but it was a challenge. Occasionally, it was fun, and it paid $100 a week. Sometimes you got to sit at the feet of masters like Marlon Brando. Sometimes you just learned to sit a horse, but Clint was also coming to love the work and to aspire, even then, to direct. The talent students posed for many a silly still. Occasionally, they even got to appear in pictures that moved.
Doc, didn't you say that among the lower animals there were no natural enemies as long as they were well fed?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, maybe so, Doc, but there were 4 rats in there when I changed my lights. Now there's only 3. It's my considered opinion that rat number 4 is sitting inside that cat.
Are you sure you fed them all this morning?
Sure, I always feed them.
Revenge of the Creature was Clint's first screen appearance.
Visita mi canal.
Here.
He appeared briefly in 6 other Universal pictures. Then his contract was dropped. At first he did well enough, working on TV shows like Highway Patrol.
All we did is stop at that cafe for breakfast.
The next thing we knew, that little guy was kicking us out, calling us bums, and shoving a gun into my stomach.
What gun?
He had a shotgun.
When a guy pokes a gun in your stomach, you get sore. That's when Nick took it away from him and slapped him. Why, sir, I'll bet you would have done the same thing.
But then, for a year, he logged far more pool time than screen time. He kept fit, as he still does, by working out. He went faithfully to auditions and acting classes. But he didn't always feel as frolicsome as he pretended to be. He credits Maggie with solid emotional support. His role as a hot young gun on Maverick was one of his best early appearances.
Anytime you're ready, Doc.
He made a believer of Brett Maverick. Soon there would be millions more, many of them teenage girls. For strolling a corridor at CBS, he was spotted by an executive and offered a running role on a new series. For 7 seasons, he would play Rowdy Yates, idiot of the plains, as Clint sometimes called him, on Rawhide. He was the good-natured innocent, always getting into scrapes, always getting rescued, and patronized by Eric Fleming's trail boss.
What have the 3 of you done now?
All I'm trying to do is get the warriors took my girl away from here.
Now, wait just a minute, Sheriff. If you think you're going to take over this herd, just because you say we're disturbing the peace.
From doing years at a Rawhide, I found that I had the job. I was going to be there next week. And if this episode didn't work out, I was going to be in the next episode. So I could experiment and do some crazy thing in that particular episode. And if it looked lousy, I could say, well, I won't do that again.
Over the years, he and Rowdy matured, but the show, in Clint's opinion, did not. He was willing to try anything to break out of the rut. Well, almost anything.
An Italian Western? I don't think so. The script wasn't even typed up in regular script form. But my agent asked me if I would read it as a favor to the Rome office. And upon reading it, I recognized it was Yojimbo, a picture I had seen some years before. Toshiro Mifune starred in it. Akira Kurosawa directed it. He was one of my favorite directors. And I thought, what the heck, if this thing doesn't do any business, I still get a free trip through Europe.
With success, Leone's visions and budgets expanded. Clint approved of that.
He saw films in a very big way. I think he idolized David Lean or somebody like that. But he liked that big scope. And I liked it, I must say, especially coming from television where you didn't have the opportunity to do that.
He also liked the more compassionate note he was allowed to strike in their third collaboration.
Never seen so many men wasted so badly.
But he also felt he had taken this character as far as he could. As he ministered to a dying soldier in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, he knew he was working with Leone for the last time. It was time to take his new stardom back home and see how it played in the American industry. A bright new star rises when Eastwood on Eastwood returns. We now return to Eastwood on Eastwood. The studios at first saw Clint as a killing machine. Where Eagles Dare was big budget, big body count filmmaking. Like his other late 60s action films, it was a hit, but they dissatisfied him. He was looking for leaner, sharper work. Then a Universal Studio executive introduced him to Don Siegel. 18 years older than Clint, the director would become his most influential filmmaking mentor. Coogan's Bluff was the first of their 5 collaborations. It was an important transition for Clint because it brought his Westerner off the range, out of the past and into the big modern city.
That's $295, including the luggage.
Tell me, how many stores are there named Bloomingdale's in this town?
On what?
We passed it twice.
It's still $2.95, including the luggage.
Yeah. Well, there's $3, including the tip.
Don was such an efficient director that he was unfairly relegated to doing B movies instead of doing A movies, which he deserved to be doing. Sometimes he'd print a take on the first time and wouldn't do 10 or 20 like a lot of directors who were insecure. And I learned a lot from that. I thought this efficiency was very important aspect to carry with you. When he got the opportunity to do Beguiled, he reveled in it. It was everything he'd never been able to do in the past.
It's the oddest item in either of their filmographies. Clint's a wounded Northern soldier given refuge in a girls' school when he's trapped behind rebel lines in the Civil War.
Corporal John McBurney, 66 New York. I surrender.
One of the students offers herself to him. A teacher also throws off her repression and yields to his charm. Even Miss Farnsworth, the stern headmistress, succumbs to him. One night, he makes a final choice between the women.
No. Oh, you're dead!
Miss Farnsworth will exact a terrible price for his transgressions, a grisly, needless amputation. This was Southern Gothic, not a realm where his audience is expected to find a take-charge action star. There were more shocks to come.
You girls know why Miss Dabney there knocked me down the stairs? That's because I went to Carol's room instead of hers. And do you know how I got out of my room in the first place? That's because this fine lady, Miss Farnsworth, unlocked my door so I could go to her room. And do you know why Miss Farnsworth chopped off my leg and left me a cripple? So I could stay on here and be at her beck and call.
You beast!
That's right, but I don't run a school for young girls. And I just thought these girls might like to know what kind of woman runs this place.
Once he speaks the unspoken, he has to die. Now, I'm not sure the audiences were really ready for that. Turns out they weren't. But that's the way Don and I saw it. That's the way it was written in the original book. Now, the studio had other ideas. They would have liked to sing a nice, happy ending, but life just isn't like that. It wouldn't have had the statement against war if it was like that. So it ended the only way it could have, with Corporal Burney being sewn into his own shroud.
Then lock the stitch underneath, like this.
That's the way I did it.
No, it's not. Try it again. Doesn't look as if he suffered much. Oh, I'm sure he didn't, Carol. I think probably his heart just gave out. He was in a very weakened condition.
Encouraged by Don Siegel, Clint felt ready to direct. He chose Play Misty for Me because it was well within a beginner's range. A small, strong story about a casual romance that goes very wrong.
Careful now. Do it.
For luck and moral support, he cast Don Siegel in a small part.
Be really careful. My name is Dave Carver.
Evelyn Draper.
Sit down, Evelyn Draper. Care for a drink?
Okay.
What'll it be?
Surprise me.
Blue driver?
Nice game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What happened?
I won.
How? When?
When you said okay.
One Coke?
I tell you, tonight I'm really whipped.
Jessica Walter's passionate excess confounds his complacent expectations.
In life, I was probably learning as well. Nobody ever knows anything about anything. When it comes right down to it, you kind of get, especially when it comes to the relationship between the genders, you know, it seems like there's always some complication there.
Are you trying to say you don't love me anymore?
I never told you that I loved you.
Well, not in words, maybe, but there are lots of ways of saying things that have nothing to do with words.
So you read it that way.
Everybody's had that sort of thing happen in their life where people misinterpret something and it all becomes jumbled and a mess. And I didn't mind playing the dummy. or a guy who was befuddled.
Evelyn!
He's not prepared for obsession to turn into self-destructiveness.
Oh, no.
Something still more unimaginable, her return, supposedly cured of delusion, as a yet more terrifying threat to easy listening.
Caramel, Dave Garver. Hello?
Play Misty for me.
You're a dinosaur, Callahan. Your ideas don't fit today.
Just what ideas are these? That murder is a crime, that it shouldn't be punished?
Hot-tempered and coolly vengeful, Dirty Harry is the character everyone identifies with Clint Eastwood, and the one who made him a superstar. Dirty Harry, Man and Myth, when Eastwood on Eastwood returns. We now return to Eastwood on Eastwood. His name was Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry to friend and foe alike. He was a San Francisco cop. He was a blue-collar kind of guy. He symbolized a lot of American anger and frustration.
Inspector Callahan.
Usual?
Oh, the usual lunch and the usual dinner.
Well, what difference does it make?
Not much.
Dirty Harry was honest, and he hated bureaucracy, especially when it got in the way of doing his job. I think most people can identify with that because it happens in their everyday lives. Some people had called the film fascist and what have you, but I think that's nonsense. He was strictly a man who was interested in the rights of the victim. What's the matter with that? But no matter what, I just love this character. It's like the script says, he's called Dirty Harry because somehow all the dirty work comes to him.
This is the scene that inscribed Harry indelibly on everyone's memory.
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, in all this excitement, I've kind of lost track myself. But Ian, this is a .44 Magnum, the most powerful handgun in the world, and would blow your head clean off. You've got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
I got to know.
Send Inspector Callahan in. Mr. Mayor, Inspector Callahan. All right, let's have it.
Have what?
The report. What have you been doing?
Oh, well, for the past 3/4 of an hour, I've been sitting on my ass in your outer office, waiting on you.
Damn it all, Harry, that's the mayor you're talking to.
Why do they call you Dirty Harry?
Well, that's one thing about our Harry. Doesn't play any favorites. Harry hates everybody.
Winders, nicks, heaves, fat dagos, niggers, honkies, chinks, you name it.
How's he feel about Mexicans?
Ask him.
Especially Spix.
I think that's why Siegel and I got along so well in our films, is that I would play a character and I didn't romance anybody. And he always liked that. He said, this guy's always going out of his way to do some crazy thing.
What do they want?
I want a car.
What are you going to do?
Give him one.
Harry's cheekiness, the sheer heedlessness of the man, was what kept us coming back through 4 sequels.
What makes a man crazy enough to join the cops?
Tráilers.
Find out, you let me
Visita mi
know.
canal.
I just felt that that was me. I was I had the rebellious streak in me, and I was doing them the way I saw them at that time. But I think there was always sort of a sadness to the character.
It was Harry's saving grace. Characters and actors who are merely tough wear out their welcome very quickly. Harry was an inarticulately grieving widower. It explained his loneliness, and it helped justify his passion for his job. It was really all he had.
Listen, Inspector, I realize that you were not particularly overjoyed by this assignment, because you don't think I'm up to it, do you?
Right.
All right. In that case, I would like to get one thing straight, and that is the fact that I'm a woman. But I consider that fact absolutely irrelevant from now on, because I will not accept, nor do I expect, any special consideration.
Marvelous.
He was famously testy with partners, knowing that in action, they would be tested along with him. Of them all, the enforcer's Tyne Daly probably had the toughest time. She had to keep up with him in high heels.
Well, Inspector Moore, I don't like to get too friendly with partners.
I know. I mean, I understand.
Kate, you know, whoever draws you as a partner could do a hell of a lot worse.
This is as close as Harry Callahan ever came to romance. It could only end one way.
Harry, look out!
Oh, Harry. I messed up.
Did just fine, man. Let me get you out of here.
Don't concern yourself, Harry. Get him.
You can count on it.
Life kept teaching Harry the same lesson over and over again, that he could rely only on himself.
What you doing, you pighead sucker?
Every day for the last 10 years, Loretta there has been giving me a large black coffee. Today she gives me a large black coffee, only it's got sugar in it. A lot of sugar. I just came back to complain. How you boys put those guns down?
Say what?
Whoa, we're not just gonna let you walk out of here.
Who's we, sucker?
Smith and Wesson and me. Go ahead. Make my day.
But no matter what, he kept his faith. In the morality he insisted on defining in his own unique terms.
Say it ain't so.
No, this stuff isn't getting to me. The shootings, the knifings, the beatings. Old ladies being bashed in the head for their Social Security checks. Teachers being thrown out of a fourth-floor window because they don't give A's. That doesn't bother me a bit.
Come on, Harry, take it easy.
Or this job either, having to wade through the scum of this city, being swept away by bigger and bigger waves of corruption, apathy, and red tape. Nah, that doesn't bother me. But you know what does bother me?
What?
You know what makes me really sick to my stomach?
What?
It's watching you stuff your face with those hot dogs. Nobody, I mean nobody, puts ketchup on a hot dog.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about having our fingers in the holes and the whole damn dike's crumbling around us. Inspector Callahan, Lieutenant Donnelly sent to get yourself down to Commissioner's office. Now, on a double. Swell.
But Clint, unlike Harry, always had wider horizons to explore.
Get ready, little lady. Ella's coming to breakfast.
American Outlaws, American Dreamers, when Eastwood on Eastwood returns. We now return to Eastwood on Eastwood. He was the farmer Josie Wales before tragedy turned him into the outlaw Josie Wales. The Civil War, brutal guerrilla warfare on the Kansas-Missouri border. The beginning of a vendetta that will extend through the war and beyond. His enemies will pursue Josie relentlessly for war crimes of which he is innocent. Fleeing them, he's also escaping civilization and its commitments. He thinks they can only end in betrayal and bitterness.
I think if I had it today, I'd approach it with the same enthusiasm. The parallels between those times and the post-Vietnam period were very, very striking. And I thought it was a statement that needed to be made. I also liked the way it treated Native Americans, with a lot of humanness and a sense of humor.
Howdy.
Howdy.
I'm getting better sneaking up on you like this. Only an Indian can do something like this.
That's what I figured.
You figured?
Only an Indian could do something like that.
Chief Dan George was not really an actor by trade, and he was quite elderly at the time, so he had trouble memorizing some of his lines. So I finally decided, I said, Chief, you just tell the story in your own words. And he would sit and tell these wonderful, poignant stories, and they would just almost bring a tear to your eye sometimes. And he had this great way about him, this great humor. And the whole picture was about relationships like that, and Josie, on one hand, trying to resist establishing relationships, and the more he resists, the more this community sort of builds around him.
Oh, Chief, I was just wondering, I suppose that mangy red-boned hound's got no place else to go either. Well, you might as well ride along with us. Hell, everybody else is.
Yet, as he rode on, a deadly reputation accrued around this hard-put and desperate man, seeking peace and anonymity. Celebrity as a gunfighter is thrust upon him.
Why, you're gonna pull those pistols or whistle Dixie?
Respites from the world's malice are never long for Josie Wales.
I'm looking for Josie Wales.
That'd be me.
You're wanted, Wales.
I reckon I'm right popular. You a bounty hunter?
Man's got to do something for a living these days.
Dying ain't much of a living, boy.
He finally understands that you have to go on with what there is and what you have, and rebuild your life with whatever help you can find, whatever tools come to hand.
Josie's final confrontation with the man who almost destroyed him. Is he torturing him as he has been tortured? Or is Josie Wales himself now redeemed, offering a last chance at redemption even to irredeemable evil? This was a turning point in Clint's career, a memorable assertion of his filmmaking craft and ambition. But he was always willing to explore other, odder roads. Low, funny roads, where even true romance can take some very curious turns.
Man, I'll tell you something. Clyde, this has got to stop. People are going to talk, you know?
Everyone told me not to make Every Which Way But Loose, but I thought there was something hip about it in a strange sort of way. Clyde turned out to be great to work with. Orangs are cool. They're kind of shy and introverted. You have to kind of coax them out of their shells.
Here.
They also like to study things out very carefully, especially their co-stars, I discovered.
Clint was a divorced dad by this time, so he loved having his kids join him on the set. This was one Kyle and Allison Eastwood especially enjoyed visiting. For all his sweetness, Clyde, like his master, was no one to trifle with.
Ain't gonna be no weenie roast. No, this time it's gonna be a ape roast.
Right turn, Clyde.
Like Clint's colleagues, the critics despised the two pictures he made with Clyde, but the public loved them. They were the most popular movies he had made up to that time.
God, you're a handsome devil.
No American back road wound more eccentrically than the one that brought Clint to Bronco Billy's Wild West show. This may be low business, but it's also a sanctuary for cracked American dreamers and sweetly dangerous idealists.
The chief got bit again with a rattlesnake.
Damn.
Underwater took him back to their truck and gave him a shot at Doc's snake bite.
I don't know why you can't just do the great Apache flaming arrow act.
I thought you told him to use a gopher snake.
I did, but he's a proud Indian.
Well, Bronco Billy is a person who says, I am who I want to be. And he was a guy who was a dreamer, and it was sort of the last of the American dreamers. But unfortunately, his dream was something that was totally obsolete, which is a Wild West show.
The one and only Bronco Billy McCoy!
He's a one-time shoe salesman and an ex-con, but he's also a man transformed. It's every American's right to do just that this movie celebrates.
Bronco Billy, I read it in one sitting. It was so beautifully naive. Here's this misfit leading this band of losers across mid-America with a Wild West show. And his concern for the values of kids. That's so American.
Pick him up or I'll plug you. I ought to have the whole bunch of you strung out for cattle rustling.
We just wanted to talk to Bronco Billy.
All right, turn around nice and easy. You mean new little pards played hooky from school just to come see me?
Wow, look at his guns. He really is Bronco Billy.
Put your hands down.
Are you really the fastest guy in the West? Wow! Wow!
Ain't nobody faster than Bronco Billy.
He's really a very noble person. It's just that somewhere along the line, he's lost touch with modern reality. But that's where his charm lies, and his individuality.
Cash a check here?
$3?
Yeah, I'd like it in 2 singles and 4 quarters. No, wait a second. Make that 2 quarters and 5 dimes.
What's it going to be, fella?
It's a stick-up!
All right, everybody up against the wall. You too, Tex. Come on, move. Move!
It was one of those little kind of fables that I always thought Capra would have done if he had still been directing at that time.
There were other, somewhat darker fables Clint wanted to tell.
Oh, it all sounds so right to me when I sing about you.
Honky Tonk Man is the story of a singer, fatally ill, making his way cross-country to Nashville on an audition with the Grand Ole Opry. His last chance for fame, fortune, and maybe immortality. His driver and guardian is his nephew, wise and patient beyond his years. Clint, who also directed, thought it would be a perfect role for his own son, Kyle.
He always looked to me like a 30s kid, and he loved music the same way I did growing up.
So I lost my woman, and you lost your man. And who knows who's right or who's wrong? La da do da dee da, la do da do dee da do dee da do.
Well, I got my guitar.
I got my guitar, and I got a plan. Hey, that's really good, Oz, man. You got it now. Boy, he's really good. I got my guitar, and I got a plan. Do 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 do.
Throw your arms around this honky-tonk man. How's that?
Damn, boy, you've got this songwriting stuff down.
I've known so many people in my lifetime that have been on the brink or had a lot of talent but never utilized it, or they were on the brink of success and destroyed themselves. And this is exactly what happened here. As a guy, as the closer he got to success, and the closer he was to his goal, his lifetime goal, the more he drank himself into oblivion and got himself screwed up.
They attain Nashville and the edge of his dreams' fulfillment.
Well, I've never seen you
look
quite so sad, and I've never felt me feel quite so bad. And I know we both feel that we have been had. Well, I guess they were just not that strong. So I lost my woman, and you lost your man. And who knows who's right or who's wrong? But I've got my guitar, and I've got a plan. Throw your arms around this honky-tonk man. Throw your arms around this honky-tonk man. And we'll get through this night the best way we can.
Some American dreams don't come true. Clint's always been willing to say that, too. The Dark Side of Macho, when Eastwood on Eastwood returns. We now return to Eastwood on Eastwood. New Orleans, 1984, a Halloween celebration. Tightrope. First in a series of films in which Clint peeled back the masks of masculinity to reveal the anxieties and ambiguities they hide. Wes Block's a good father. He's also a vice cop assigned to the French Quarter. He's pursuing a serial killer. He, in turn, is being stalked by the murderer. And by his own demons. Brooding on a bitter divorce, he's drawn towards the kinky life he's supposed to be policing. Truly a man on an emotional tightrope. Sometimes he falls off, and his elder daughter must pick up the pieces. Clint cast his own daughter, Allison, in the role.
I remember when we did that scene, I said to Allison, just think of your father as this lost stray cat. Just relate to him like that. We always kept it very simple between us. It made a good contrast with the rest of the film.
With these, no one can get to you, huh?
They'll stop just about anyone.
Geneviève Bujold is the psychologist who breaks through his fear of love and its betrayals.
Tus tráilers, visita mi canal.
It is not something she will quickly or easily accomplish. A killer in flight. He has threatened the detective's children and lover. Pursuing him, Wes Block is also running down his own most darkly imagined self. First direct confrontation. Final deadly conflict. When he finally unmasks the killer, a former cop he once arrested for sex crimes, Wes finally unmasks his own unspoken rage and frees himself from it. Then there was the man behind this gun, Gunnery Sergeant Tom Highway USMC, living parody of traditional masculine values.
This is the AK-47 assault rifle, the preferred weapon of your enemy, and it makes a distinctive sound when fired at you, so remember it.
He was trying a little tenderness to win back his ex-wife, to try to fit into a new and puzzling world.
It's my ultimate statement about macho. He's super macho and completely ignorant, completely lost.
Tell me something. Did we mutually nurture each other?
I beg your pardon?
Did we communicate in a meaningful way in our relationship?
Relationship? Hell, I thought we were married.
Some reviewers mistook satire for celebration. Not the Marine Corps brass, though. When they screened Heartbreak Ridge, they withdrew their support. Despite a heroic finale, it wasn't quite the recruiting poster they'd imagined.
Running! Jones. Just because we're holding hands doesn't mean we're gonna take warm showers till the wee hours of the morning. You hear me?
As usual, Clint refused to soften the joke.
You might as well do what you believe in rather than kiss it up with the audience and say, oh, come on, love me, like me, feel me, squeeze me. You know? And it's not going to come out that way. It's not going to come out and be anything but a disaster because they're going to dump you anyway if they're not being entertained properly.
White Hunter Black Heart didn't find a large audience. It's about a movie director loosely based on John Huston surrendering to obsession. It's also another meditation on the more deadly masculine imperatives.
John, hold your fire. You're about to blow this whole picture out of your nose, John. And for what? To commit a crime. To kill one of the rarest, most noble creatures that roams the face of this crummy earth. And in order for you to commit this crime, you're willing to forget about all of us and let this whole damn thing go down the drain.
You're wrong, kid. It's not a crime to kill an elephant. It's bigger than all that. It's a sin to kill an elephant. You understand? It's a sin. It's the only sin that you can buy a license and go out and commit. That's why I want to do it before I do anything else in this world. Do you understand me? Of course you don't. How could you? I don't understand myself.
Some critics call these characters tormented males. Well, maybe they're right. I've always felt the traditional definition of masculinity was somewhat obsolete. Born out of insecurities, it isolates you.
Dutifulness can also isolate a man. Just ask Frank Horrigan, the Secret Service man Clint played in the Line of Fire. Confronting age and weariness, he was also obliged to confront the changing relationship of men and women, too.
I've never worked with a female agent before. How many are there?
About 125.
Pure window dressing.
Excuse me?
Window dressing. About 125 out of a little over 2,000. They have you all around so that the president can look good to his feminist voters.
Do you make an effort to be obnoxious, or is it a gift?
It's a gift. Let's face it, half the things we do are window dressing. Take running alongside that limousine. It'd take an anti-tank missile to put a dent in that damn thing. There we are out for show, trying to make the president look more presidential.
So if I'm here to court the feminist vote, what demographics do you represent?
See, white piano-playing heterosexuals over the age of 50. There ain't a whole lot of us, but we do have a powerful army.
And no matter how softly he speaks, he has a powerful presence and a powerful will, like all of Clint Eastwood's characters.
Gun! Get down! Get down! Get down!
Security room, follow up. What the hell's going on in there?
All clear. I'm all clear.
Behind a different kind of scene as Clint directs an Oscar-winning masterpiece.
Take that.
You beat William Money out of Missouri. Killed women and children.
Killed just about everything that walks or crawled at one time or another. And I'm here to kill you, little Bill. For what you did in that.
The secrets of a director's success when Eastwood on Eastwood returns. We now return to Eastwood on Eastwood. In the last decade, the films Clint has directed have taken on very dark tones. None more so than Bird, his biography of Charlie Parker, the jazz great Clint has idolized since adolescence. No picture has ever meant more to him than this portrait of a deeply troubled yet very sympathetic genius.
Forrest, and whatever you want to do, just, or whatever, anything, you know, just, okay, that looks great. If something's happening, the best thing you can do is not come in and try to over-tamper with it.
I say, see, I got a way about me too, referring to her father having a way about him.
Yeah, okay. So play all that.
Okay.
Just keep playing
it.
Huh?
I'll just say the line here.
No, when she starts swooning, start moving out, and just go, see, I got a way about me too. And go right off into sunset.
Visita mi canal.
Okay.
Just give us one more minute, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Now, what's her name didn't ask Valentino no questions like that?
Vilma banking, and he had her in front of him, and she was in a swoon. Woo!
Now, you see? I got a way about me, too.
I'll say.
I was a great admirer of Charlie Parker, and again, like Honky Tonk Man, only Charlie Parker was an immense talent, already developed, and a great innovator, but he still wanted to self-destruct, even though he was a pioneer in music. And it's hard to understand that. And you listen to tapes on him, you listen to him talk. He was a very articulate person, a very obviously intelligent guy, but he was a self-destruct kind of guy too.
I go to a liver doctor, and I pay him $50, and it don't help me. I go to an ulcer doctor, same thing, except I pay him $75. But I go to some little cat up in the house somewhere and pay him $10 for a bag and a little bit of peace. And my ulcers don't hurt, my liver don't hurt, my heart trouble is calm. And you trying to tell me that this is the man I'm supposed to stay away from? Mr. Gillespie, my comrade in arms. That is what I call paradox.
Unforgiven, in which the director also stars. Dual duties always double the pressure on Clint. But as he rehearses a brutal, crucial, and complicated scene with Gene Hackman, he'll strive to keep the mood on the set as light as he can, so that everyone, himself included, can focus on the work without distraction.
Pour me one of those, too.
You have to set a tone, and if I'm not in that mood, if I don't set that, then I can't expect anyone else to follow suit.
We were going to do a side shot with Saul's boots almost following along, and from that view over there, almost his point of view right here.
So should I?
Maybe we'll just print your shot. Now we'll just print your shot, and we won't even need.
I like it down here. Can we have a meeting down here?
Yeah, take a meeting.
Clint's character, Will Money, is a man haunted by a murderous past and trying to escape it.
Let the man out, W.W. Desiring to leave the hospitality of Big Whiskey behind him.
This beating helps ensure a return to his old ways, however guiltily.
I seen the angel of death. I seen the Reverend Dad. He's got snake eyes.
Oh, Will. Who's got snake eyes?
It's the angel of death. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. I'm scared of dying.
Easy, partner. Easy.
He and his friends become assassins for hire in a bad cause.
No. Did you get him? Yeah.
Will and the Schofield kid can escape the immediate consequences of their act, but never the lingering ones.
It don't seem real. I ain't gonna never breathe again, ever. How he's dead. And the other one, too. All on account of pulling a trigger.
It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. You take away all he's got, and all he's ever gonna have.
Yeah. Well, I guess they had it coming.
We all have it coming, kid. Look down there, look down at him. You can't believe it. Just look back over at me.
Cowardly son of a bitch, you just shot an unarmed man.
You should have thought about that before you decorated this saloon with the body of my friend.
All right, gentlemen. He's got one barrel left. When he fires that, take out your pistols and shoot him down like the mangy scoundrel he is.
The sheriff has tortured and killed Will's best friend. He has no choice but vengeance.
Misfire. Kill us, bitch.
A director, of course, has many choices.
Sometimes you might just want to see a shadow or a face, or like Carol Reed did in The Third Man, you know, sometimes the lighting, you step out and you see half a face or a chin or something. Audiences are very smart. They don't have to see everything. They can feel the presence if you just give them a good, interesting shot.
I don't deserve this. To die like this. I was building a house. Deserves got nothing to do with it.
I had the script for a long time. It was like a fine gold watch that I had in my pocket, and you just always knew it was there. And I liked the fact that the good guys were not all good, the bad guys were not all bad. It had a great statement about violence and about gunplay. I never thought anybody would want to see it. I thought everybody'd like to see the more traditional Western, you know, the kind with the nameless bodies falling off the roof. We've all grown up with those. But this one had something more to say.
It all in big, immense close-ups and jam the playwright and the information right in somebody's face, or you can develop a picture that invites people to come in and follow it along and become part of the story. Instead of sitting back in your chair, you kind of lean forward in your chair and you go, yeah, what are they saying? What are they doing? And I'm interested in where they're going. Merrill seemed to think it was a big reach because he's playing a guy of that kind of exposing his feelings that openly, but I didn't feel that.
Set in Savannah, based on the best-selling book, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil is about bad things happening during a good time. I play a writer coming to observe this exotic world, and then getting caught up in it.
This place is fantastic. It's like Gone with the Wind on mescaline. Listen to me. They walk imaginary pets here, Garland, all right? And they're all heavily armed and drunk. New York is boring. I'll call you later.
Even the girl next door is not what you'd expect.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Mandy is played by Clint's daughter, Allison.
Hi.
She's all grown up now. At the center of the story is Kevin Spacey's elegant, dangerous Jim Williams.
What money I have is about 11 years old. So, yes, I am nouveau riche, but then it's the riche that counts now, isn't it?
There's even a voodoo priestess played by Irma P. Hall.
Well, looks like we got the garden all to ourselves tonight.
John, meet Minerva.
How do you do? You trying to work me, boy?
You want to leave here, you can do it tomorrow morning for all right.
A quarrel between Jim and his lover leads to murder in circumstances most ambiguous. And to a scandalous trial.
When do I take the stand?
Last.
Good.
They'll have heard all the theories. We'll finish them with the truth. I'm looking forward to this. Do you know why? Because it's important. Not that I'm just acquitted, but that everyone knows I'm innocent. I refuse to live in a world where whispers become fact. Guilty men murmur. The innocent shout to the rafters.
The story may be convoluted, but Clint's a straight-ahead sort of director. And a hands-on kind of guy.
Boys, somebody get on that other one over there. Let's go that way. Well, right there.
They look quite spectacular. Hold for a second, man. And we'll do a single. Just zip right on in there.
I'm zipping as much.
Yeah.
I'll zip as much as the horse lets me.
I felt it was time to maybe step back and be just the director. What appeals to me here, too, is that it isn't exactly what I've been doing. It isn't exactly like something I've done before. I don't want to do pictures where I'm just repeating myself, either as a director or an actor.
What always remains constant on Clint's sets is good spirits. Here, Clint and production designer Henry Bumstead consult.
It's because you put it up there.
No. Now, come on. I'm not finished yet. I have a couple
This is the one you like.
Well, any one of them. I like all of them.
I look at the various potentials. You know, there's a possibility here, a couple possibilities around here, and there's a lot of ways you can go with that. And sometimes he'll come up and he'll say, well, this is really good, it's really good from this angle here. And I'll always kid him. I'll say, Bumstead, now just tell me where to put the camera and we'll do it. And he goes, oh, God, you know, he gets all embarrassed. But in reality, he has a good eye, so I'm always picking the brain of everyone. There's a lot of good eyes on the set, and you want to take advantage of all of them to make sure you get the best picture possible. So you can steal the credit for it all.
That would be a cool shot too, is going with the steady camera between all the ladies, pulling John up right up the stairs. Yeah, let me see.
A director really has to know how to make comments. A lot of directors, because they're nervous themselves or because they have minimal confidence in what they're doing, they start jabbering and start rambling and start over-instructing. And after a while, the actor gets kind of rattled. They start going, well, geez, what does he want? Does he want this or that or this or that? And a director has to know when to sort of shut up and allow things to happen.
Oh, but right now, for this whole beginning piece, you can just regard the camera. Some of you don't regard it right away. Don't look at it right away. Just, and you see it, you know. Okay. Don't think too much. We'll rehearse one kind of. Yeah, just rehearse.
It's all a matter of confidence, projecting it and inspiring it.
Hire that guy.
All you really do is try to set an atmosphere that you would have liked to have had constantly through your career, so that you do your very best work in that scene. And that's the thing I try to bring to other actors. I like to bring them the atmosphere that I've always desired myself. That's my strongest point, I think, is keeping everybody comfortable and making them feel a certain confidence in what they're doing.
You're working your way, you know, you're working along here, you look over here and you just kind of come up.
Let's do the interview. I'll sit down. Whatever you want to do.
Oh, no, I don't care what we do. I don't know when to start. Do you really say action?
Commence.
Okay. All right.
She was a very experienced theater actress, and she was sort of expecting the movie cliche of a director with somebody with a monocle and leggings going, action, you know, and a whip or something. But it's, I don't always use the same beginning twice, because I like to keep the actors very loose. That's why I always make sure that the guy who does the clappers, he learns to do it very quietly, so they don't come in with a lot of disturbances, you know, like a whap, and they go, there you are, and the person's like, oh, what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, the scene. And then I might just give the actor a moment to kind of get their thoughts, and when I feel that they have their thoughts together, then I'll say, okay, anytime, or commence, or azione, or action.
We're rolling. Speed. Marker.
All right, azione.
Hit Billy squarely behind the ear. So, the way it looks, Jim shot him once in the chest, then stepped around the desk, and bang, bang, he shot him twice more as he lay on the floor.
A coup de grace.
Precisely.
You come in and let the actors know they're doing good work without being flamboyant and just going in there saying, oh, you're wonderful, oh, darling, it's the greatest thing, oh, God, you're going to win this. And you're going, then they're all sitting there with smoke flying up every possible pore of their body.
Right there. Look right here. There you go.
Work it, baby. Work it. Work it. Prettiest cockroach I've seen.
Yeah. What do you say, pal? You want to be in movies?
Yeah. Those colorful cockroaches.
Yeah. I know, you want to be in films. Well, I'll tell you what. Repeat after me. Make my start one more from the top, Al.
Now don't get too excited. They're store-bought.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. Aren't you going home for the holidays to see your family?
My family, let's see. My wife divorced me. My mother passed away. And my father has married an interesting creature. He's about 2 years older than me.
Ouch.
Tragic story, isn't it?
Sounds like it.
Director is dad, dad is director. Obviously a dual role that pleased the boss.
Me and Joe are just friends.
You live together.
Yeah, about a dozen other people. Kelso, I know you think we're pretty backwards, but believe it or not, a woman in the South is not chattel. I mean, I don't have his name tattooed on my butt. Actually, I did once, but it was just for a joke. It wasn't permanent or anything.
I've always relied on instinct. I think it works well for you. You never can anticipate whether an audience is going to like it. That, of course, is another thing again. But if you like it, you have a passion for it, then that's so important. I've been doing that ever since I started this business 40-some years ago, and I got to say, it worked well for the most part, and I'll be making them for a long time.